welcome back to the channel. So we've started a new job for a new contractor client. What we're doing is, the first port of call is stripping the roof up here, the existing tiles. This is going to be a hip to crown flat roof. As you can see, it's a side and front extension. So yeah, we've got a hip coming up here to a flat roof, same at the back. Connecting in at the back there with lay boards to the existing. And then this section where the existing gable is here, that's going to continue out to the front. And this will all be built up in block, the front section. So yeah, first port of call, as I say. Strip the tiles at the back here, strip the battens, strip the gutter, fascia and soffit. Still got to come up to wall plate height here, but I've got the cutting list, taking everything together, so let's get into it. Right, so as you can see, we've stripped all the roof tiles now. We might have to take some more off, but the flat roof's approximately going to be at that height, maybe slightly lower. All the plates have been bedded on, lined up nicely. We've had to match the plate height of the existing here because obviously, as you can see, we've got these ceiling joists bearing on this existing plate and then onto the new plate here. But what that means is we've got quite a big bird's mouth cut out on the rafters. We've had no choice really to do that, as I say, because these ceiling joists must be level and sat on both plates. So yeah, this is a 10 plate rafter foot. We've got a 75mm upstand with a 32-degree pitch. So to get the length of the joists, I measured at this end, the middle, and at this end here, the plates are within about 10mm parallel from the back to back. So I've gone with the larger measurement. And what I did, so it's about 3 meters and 5mm. So 3 meters and 5mm from back of plate to back of plate. If you see here, from here to there is 95mm. So 3 meters and 5 and 95 is 3.1 meters. So from the end of that joist to the long point of this seat cut here is 3.1 meters. So when we put our rafters down here with the correct height above plate, as you can see, they're sat down from the rafter, so we can just get all these cut and installed without having to trim them off afterwards. We've got some triples and double ceiling joists in here because they're bearing locations for the crown flat roof. So the next port of call is we've got to get a template or dummy rafter up to work out our run, and then we're going to set our double over there, triple over here first, doubles at specific intervals on the plans, and then we can infill with the single ceiling joists. So we'll get all those in, and then we'll get on this section over here where we've got some long ceiling joists sitting on top of that steel, back to that wall plate over there, and we can get that gable roof started and then start on this pitch roof section here. Okay, so we've set up our first template rafter because what we've got to do, as I mentioned earlier, there's some doubles and triples to support the crown flat roof on the top here. So on the plans, it doesn't give the height of the flat roof. So we've had to scale off and determine what that is basically. Once we know that, we've then got the length of these rafters and we can cut them all. So how we've done it is we put a ceiling joist in here temporarily. I've just screwed this temporary 4x2 plumb at 90 degrees. So we cut a template foot earlier, so that's why we've got that. As I say, it's quite a big bird's mouth, but we've had to match the height above plate because these plates, the new plate is level to the existing because the ceiling joists have got to be running level. So, cut the bird's mouth on there, cut the seat cut for the soffit there with the correct, well that is actually a bit much there, as you can see. But this is just a template. So, yeah, so then we've got a run from scaling off the plan drawing of 2.1 meters. So I'll measure from the back of the plate Mark 2-1 there. And how we've got this set at the correct pitch, which is 32 degrees, is we held this square on there, which is at the 32, set on the outside. Held that there until it was plumb, as you can see that is, and then fixed in there. So we know that is sat at 32 degrees pitch. As I mentioned, we've got the 2-1 run, so I've plumbed up there. That's the plumb cut, which will be attached to the ridge. So this point here is the height of the flat roof. So what we can do, we can fit all these ceiling joists now. We can set the doubles and triples because we know the 2-1 run sets the first one at each end. Infill the joist, then we can put the supporting 4x2 dwarf stud wall to sit the flat roof joist on, and then start getting that in. What I'm going to be doing now is cutting the first common rafters for the pitch section up here, where we're going to be doing the crown flat roof at the top. So as you saw earlier, we had our template up there braced up, so that's given us our length and the height of our stud wall, which the lads are building currently up at the top. So from that, we had our template foot earlier. So that's got our height above plate to match existing. So you can see there we've got 75mm upstand. Not ideal really, but we've got to match it in. But to support the tail end, when we put the fascia soffit in, we'll batten down the back, and that will just support that tail a bit better. So here's the rafter that I had braced up the top with the bird's mouth there, and then there's the plumb cut on the top. So that is the length of my rafter. So other than the fact that this seat cut the tail was a bit short, as I mentioned, so I'm just adding in 95mm down this way, and then that's the correct drop, which will be 15mm gap above the brickwork. So when the soffit goes in, there's 5mm tolerance. So now all I've done is laid this down on another piece of timber, obviously added the additional down here, marked it that end, marked the bird's mouth out, marked the top plumb cut, and then rather than just a straight plumb cut like this, I've obviously added in a bird's mouth so that these rafters bear on top of the supporting wall, supporting stud wall, and then I've just extended it slightly as well. If you can see pencil marks I've got here. So here's the bird's mouth that I'm going to be cutting out. Here's the extension part. So I've come up 140 because we've got 6x2s for the flat roof. So that's 5mm down from the top of them, and that gives us a decent amount to bolt the ceiling, the flat roof joist to. So yeah, I'll just cut the first one. I've got my handy roofing square down square, because what I've done is I've set that up now to this bird's mouth, as you can see. So the pitch is 32. That's set up there, flush there, flush there. So I know that I've got the correct height up plate at the bottom. They're all the same in this instance. So yeah, I can use that to mark those. And I've got my other square, the tracer rafter square. I like to have two really, because I've got one for one end for doing the bird's mouth, one for doing the plumb cuts. Because you've got a full blade here where you can, yeah, just mark those easy. So yeah, I'll cut this first one. First one cut. As you can see, that's the top. So the supporting stud wall is going to be coming down here. This will bolt to the side of the flat roof joists. We've got the tail end here, which is now bigger, as in bigger drop, which will be sitting on the wall plate. Right, so as you can see, we've cracked on a bit now from when we've got these commons in. Yeah, I haven't got as much footage putting in the flat roof and the second supporting stud wall, but there it is in. As you can see, we've got the supporting stud wall at the front, which is taking these common rafters, and then there's the second one, which is sitting on the internal skin of the existing. So that's like a load bearing point to take as much weight, because what we've done is bolted the 6x2 flat roof rafters to the existing 4x2 rafters. So yeah, all these noggins are cut for the ceiling, so we're yet to put those in, but we've bolted the bottoms, as you can see. Bolted all the tops. And why we've got the flat roof joist sticking out there is because I've allowed for the build up of the batten and tiles, and then we're going to have a 50mm upstand for the lead to dress down. It's going to be a GRP flat roof. So yeah, what we've done as well is we've cross braced both the walls together. If you can see that coming down at different angles, so that just locks it all in. If we go back over here now, we're working on the Gable section now. So as you can see, we've got the 8x2 ridging up there, levelled that across. We had to slightly notch it at that end. Sat on the brickwork 100mm, it's flush with the existing ridge, and then we've temporarily propped it up here. So all this block work will be built into the Gable ladder to tie that in, and we'll put some heavy duty restraint straps. So if you just come over here, so these ceiling joists, quite long, they're 6 meters. So if we didn't put anything in there, obviously that would belly down quite a lot. So the detail is we've got a double 6x2, as you can see, laying there. We need to fix that together. That's going to sit central on top of that block work, on top of the brickwork in there. So we've got to punch a couple of holes, then we'll put hangers from these 7x2s off the 6x2, which will keep them nice, flat and true. We've got these noggins here to go in shortly. And how we're planing this gable into the existing is what we've done. If you look here, we've got this template foot that we cut earlier, because the height above plate 75mm is the same all the way around. So we put that there, and then over here, stripped back enough so we can 1, 2, 3 rafters. So I've marked where the back of the wall plate is existing, which is there. So we've pulled a string line from this point here over to this foot here, and when I bring it, so I keep it off, when I bring it down and it touches here, it met this third one exactly at the point when that touched. Obviously you've got the felt on here, so it's a couple of mil higher here, but that was fine. So we can cut all of these, get all these up, get the other side up, and start building that in.
Splice original.
Right, so at the stage now of getting our hips in, I have cut this one already, but I thought it'd be a good idea to show how we've worked it out, yeah, to get the length of it, etc. So There's a couple of ways you can do it. You can either measure it from point to point or shoulder to shoulder. I've actually backed this hip as well, which you don't have to do, but it works quite nicely. So to work out this backing bevel, you have to find the tan of the roof pitch. So in this case, the roof pitch is 32, and you times that number by the sine of the complementary angle of 32, which would be 58 to make 90. And that'll give you the backing bevel when you press arctan on a scientific calculator. So anyway, or the method of measuring it. So I've cut a template or dummy foot, however you want to call it. Because it's backed, I haven't cut the plate off here. You can. What it means is you'll have to add into the bird's mouth this way if I cut some off the back, but this is still fine. So why I've left it on is to show how it works. What I mean by that is, here's the template for the common rafters, which is a different pitch, steeper obviously than the hip. So if I hold that, so it's flush in the bird's mouth, and then you look at the top, you can see it planes in. Reason being is this height above plate, which is 75mm, this hip rafter is 75mm from there to the top of the apex of that bevel. So 75mm ups down all the way around this plate would be essentially in the middle of this, where the hip is. I've cut a template for the top. So the good thing about cutting a template is you can check it in situ to see how it looks, and then you can measure in between. So I've checked that worked at the top. I had to adjust it slightly to offset it because the height above plates is slightly different there. So yeah, if you scale down, so that I know that the span from here to that side of that common rafter and to the one joist in of that triple is 2145. If I scale that down by 10, that's 214.5mm. So I drew that out on a bit of ply and then joined the corners, which gave me the run. So from this corner to the corner of that wall, with that, with a bit of trigonometry, I could then work out the length of the hip. So I did it mathematically, we measured it as well, it worked out the same. When you're matching in new to existing, it's best to, you know, check both really, because unless everything's completely square, parallel and plumb, the maths might be slightly off. It works in a perfect scenario, but if something's slightly out, it doesn't. So it's good to measure it as well. So I'll show you us now getting the hip in.
Splice original.
Okay, so we've got our hip jacks in now and all our valley jacks with the valley labels. Didn't get any footage of that because we were a bit pressed for time. So yeah, that's all connected into the existing now. So next stage is we're going to be cutting all the feet off at the eaves for our fascia soffit. So my method I use for doing that is I come off the brickwork the distance we need. So to match the existing over there, we've got 270mm, so plumb that up, cut the foot off. Fix a batten on there, do the same at the far end, put a string line retention off the roof, and that string line is dead straight. I then get a sliding bevel, which I'll show you shortly, set it to the plumb of the pitch of the roof, and then move it up to the string and mark all of them individually. That gives you a bang on straight fascia line. So let's go over here and I'll show you what I mean. So yeah, you can see the batten I've fixed here. We've got the string line on with tension. This is already set to the plumb mark of the pitch. So you have to have it so it's sticking above, so this point can touch the string. So if I place it on there, slide it up gently to the string, mark, and do that with all of them. And as I say, once they're all cut off, that'll be bang on in line. So I'll cut both ends, this flank here, and yeah, get back to you after that. Okay, so we're at the stage now of cutting and installing our fur into the flat roof. So the full ratio on the plans is 1:40. So what that means is the high point here to the low point there, we've got a 4.8 metre timber. So it's a hipped furring. So what you do is divide that by 40. That then gives you your size of your furring. So we've got 130mm this end down to 10mm this end. So it's 120mm full over that distance. So now I've got the hip ones in. We can work out all the diminishing furrings off that. So we just have to measure the length at each individual point. The bevels, obviously this is an irregular hip, so how we work that out is I've got my roofing square. If I just place it so this blade is tight on the furring, and then I read it here, that gives me the bevel for this side. Same this side, where I've got this row of noggins, so that one's about 39 degrees. Do the same that side, that's 50. So I'll show you once we've got them all in. Right, we've got the furrings down as you can see now, so we've nailed and screwed these on. Quite a lot of work in it, because obviously it's a hipped fall in 3 ways. So the fall is 1:40. We've got the hipped ones in first. And then what we did is just, found out our angles, as I was showing you before, measured the lengths, measured the high point, because they decrease obviously going down the hip. Ripped them all down, fixed them. So now what we're going to be doing is OSBing the whole roof. So we have what's called like an envelope cut. So there'll be like a join down the hip, both of the hips, meaning it'll fall all 3 ways, and that keeps a continuous level all the way around. That's why this hipped style flat roof is done. Also, it disperses the water evenly over every part of the roof. If it just fell that way, you've got all the water cascading down there, which could be quite an overload for the gutters. So as I say, splits it up, goes down the valleys, and yeah, so I'll come back to you once we've got it all boarded. Okay, so we've got the whole roof boarded now. As you can see, it's falling this way, and that way, keeping an even upstand all the way around. And the reason we've done this is for that, and also it disperses the water evenly off the roof. This was as per the spec, so that's why we've done it. Got an 8-inch lay board here, as requested by the roof tilers. So that's done. All the valleys knolled, because these are going to be fiberglass dry valleys. Yeah, straps are on, Gable ladder's on. Straps have got to be moved slightly because the blocks have ended up slightly over, so they've had to bend them up. We'll have to get them down a bit tighter. Fascia soffits on everywhere other than the Gable ladder section yet. We've got a couple of box ends to do as well, but pretty much there. So yeah, that's this one all wrapped up pretty much. We'll be back tomorrow just to finish the last little bits of fascia. So yeah, we're all ready for the roof tilers now. Yeah, so another one done. So thanks for watching this one. I'll see you next time.